Another option to this is the out command. So that is something that I use to advocate for personal space, your personal space. It's also something that I use to get her to disengage from a resource. So if she's stolen a toy, if she has something that somebody's dropped on the ground and you don't want her to have it, a food item, whatever, this is a great option to get her to move away from it without having to actually put yourself in danger of her becoming, showing resource guarding. So the command is just out with a finger pointed outwards, and I usually kind of use spatial pressure into her a little bit to get her to move back. So out, good girl, there we go. Good job. Out, good, yes, good girl. Very nice. And then if she, let's see if I can find something, we'll use these socks. Hey. Out, good, there we go. What do I do? What's this? Out, good, very good. She's not very committed to these, but just as an example of what I mean by disengaging from an object. Riley, come, good girl. I'm gonna run her through her commands real quick just so you have visual of her being able to do them. Hey, come here, sit, good girl. Okay, down, good. And then stay. Even if I give Mr. Riley attention, stay. Good girl. That's good. Okay. Going backwards to the place, I personally like to give them separate places. It doesn't have to be fancy things like these. I know that they have like a big bed that they share. I think that was you that I was talking about that with. So if they have a big dog bed, you don't have to get 2 dog beds unless you want to. It could be something, a towel, a mat, a paper towel, anything just to kind of give them boundaries as to where their place is. I'm going to send videos of us walking together so that way you have visual of how that goes. And then creating rules and boundaries for these little guys, especially since, I mean, he's not old, but he's you know, in his prime, and she's very young. So they have similar but different personalities. So we want to set boundaries that are beneficial to both of them, but to help keep your relationship with them harmonious so they're not driving you crazy. I always say set rules and follow them, but don't set so many rules that it's impossible to follow through with everything. These commands are more than just sending your dog $0 tricks. It's ways to utilize their training to coexist in your world. So for their stays, I like for them to respect thresholds, going in and out of doors, waiting to be invited through, feeding time, not just like harassing you to be fed. Even things like if you're sitting on the sofa and they're jumping all over you and it's not the time for that. Using your out to get her to get away from you for that. Advocating for your space is super important. Dogs that are really pushy when they're younger, that doesn't necessarily go when they get older. So unless you set the tone of when I say you need to give me space, then you need to give me space. So if you say out and she's just like, no, still climbing all over you, stand up, mean it. That is the key to training, is following through with everything, making sure that you're setting the tone of what you mean and what is allowed and things like that. Okay? Consistency, clarity is another really big one. Making sure that they know exactly what you're asking. Remember, they don't speak English. These commands are your language to help them be successful. And I believe that I went over in the other video pressure. Pressure is something that we apply when we need the dog to do something for us. It's very important that you release pressure when you have the desired behavior. Otherwise, you could potentially reinforce the wrong behavior. So pressure is leash pressure. It is e-collar pressure, so that the continuous button, you're holding it down, when you give the command, and when they do the command, you release the pressure in. Good, mark that. And then the spatial pressure, which is using your space to create more space. Out, good, like a girl. I'm using treats for the sake of this video just to kind of demonstrate, but they don't need treats all the time. I like to think of it as like a bank account. You want to always have funds in your bank. A withdrawal is not giving some sort of reinforcement, and a deposit is giving a reinforcement. So making sure that at some point you are giving them something that they find reinforcing to keep them motivated to continue to work for you. Hi, come, good girl. I think I went over this in the video that I made for you with them outside walking. For the leash heel, we like to have them right by left side, left leg as a reference point. I want them level or behind. I walk with them on the same side. I don't know what the routine is with your family, if one person walks each dog or if you have both of them on one side or one on each side. I'll let that be up to you. I personally had them on the same side, but that's because I'm used to that with my hands. Do whatever's most comfortable for you. Let's go is the command. When we're that leash heel, I want them right here by that side. I never want them up ahead. I don't want them scanning and looking for things to get trouble over. She does like to be nosy and vocal sometimes when she sees other people. So if we encounter another person and she starts getting like a little like aroused and kind of focusing too much, I'll just say no at the beginning before it becomes an issue. No with my voice, no with leash pressure, or no with my e-collar tap. I don't personally let her go up and greet everyone or every dog, especially right now, but in general, because I don't want her to find outsiders as a reinforcement. I want them to be neutral. So when we pass people, that's a great time to play with your dog and get them excited working with you.